What is the untold truth of Diablo 4's upcoming classes? The world of Diablo has always been a character-driven story, with the classes both fitting the theme of the game as well as shaping the canonical lore. Given Lilith's return and her history of obsession with her children, the Nephilim, it can be argued that there could very well be a connection between the classes in Diablo 4 and the first generation of Nephilim known as the Ancients. So, to bring you what we know and this theory to light, we must first examine the history of the classes of Diablo 4 and how they connect to the confirmed classes, comprising of Barbarian, Druid, and Sorceress, and also how they may give us the secret link to the other unconfirmed classes yet to be revealed.
All who threaten the balance, beware.
Whispers abound of which classes will make an appearance in Diablo 4 have inspired many a fan theory and questions. Who are they, and will they be recurring classes from older titles or something completely new? Rumors speculate wildly on the possible return of the Paladin, Amazon, or Necromancer, making the roster much more relative to Diablo 2's cast of heroes, and with the developers' focus on Diablo 2's legacy, it seems this is a safe bet.
We want to make sure that when we pick things to bring forward, that it feels organic and correct for Diablo 4. We don't want to just pick like, oh, that's an easy win for us. We want it to feel like it's a part of, there's a reason for it. It matters. This lore matters, the characters matter.
But remember, we're trying to honor the legacy of what Diablo 2 was.
And while we will explore lore ties to the announced heroes later in the video, there's a couple of interesting direct observations made by the community after studying the official media regarding the character select screen, which lends strengths to the argument in favor of specifically the Amazon and Necromancer classes returning. Consider the following. In vanilla Diablo 2, Blizzard decided a direct nod to classes would transpire in-game with the addition of the assassin Natalia, appearing in the docks of Kurast before mysteriously vanishing as a wry Easter egg of the class to come. Diablo 2 also contained two distinctly different character lineups that built on each other. The first for Diablo 2, then a second which had a similar updated spacing for the introduction of Assassin and Druid class in Lord of Destruction. So it's no surprise eagle-eyed theorists spotted potential Easter eggs in the same vein for Diablo 4. The first observation is based on the spacing of the characters around the fire. The Barbarian and Sorceress are very close together, but spaced farther from the Druid, there is a noticeably open section next to the Barbarian. These gaps could very well denote open seats, so to speak, for the remaining two classes available at launch. But I can already hear people saying, Dash, you need to cool it with the theory juice.
It's time to stop!
And I agree that space alone does not hold much credence. However, the second observation lies in seemingly strategically placed artifacts next to these particular gaps. Just behind the Barbarian, leaning against the large tree, is a spear laying across a long shield in a manner very reminiscent of the symbol for the Amazon from Diablo 2. The iconic spear and shield combo being a staple of imagery centered around the Ascari warrior. And next to the Barbarian is a collection of skulls, perhaps a heavy nod to the Necromancer and their particular area of expertise of reanimating corpses. Now, there are a couple of other skulls on the ground around the campfire, but they're slightly more abundant in that particular gap in the foreground. This could be considered purely anecdotal, or it could be absolutely on point to be the reveal of the remaining classes. And I get you could point to just about anything, and if outlandish hidden meanings such as the cage in the background signifies Kane's famous cage in D2 and is a nod to his resurrection, there we go, D2 remake basically confirmed, you're welcome.
My name's Deckard Cain, and I come from Tristram. If you're looking for Diablo, then you just missed him.
But there's actually a more grounded and deeper reason we're pointing this out in this theory that is ingrained in actual lore and has a common link with the three classes already revealed, plus the history tied to Lilith and the Sin War, which Diablo 4 is confirmed to heavily draw from.
It always starts with a journey to a distant land.
Here's what we know of the revealed classes, and that's the Barbarian, Sorceress, and Druid are well steeped in Diablo's history, all having made their first appearance in Diablo 2 specifically. The Barbarian tribes of Mount Arreat, founded by the ancients Bull Kathos and Vasily, who had stood ever vigilant in the defense of the World Stone, which is pivotal to Diablo 4's plot, until Baal led his charge against the fabled mountain. Of these first line of Nephilim, the Barbarians fought for centuries against countless foes, including the legendary armies of Rakis, and would later scatter in shame, becoming wandering adventurers and mercenaries, and some, more disturbingly, would venture out to the Dreadlands and consume the flesh of their own kind, becoming the cannibals who are looking to take a big wet bite out of any errant adventurer in Diablo 4. The Druids of Skosglen is a subset of the Barbarians of Arreat, formed by Vasily, who viewed the oneness with nature as the ultimate form over discipline over the martial practices of Bull Kathos. Skosglen makes a prominent appearance in Diablo 4, which we've already seen in gameplay. So naturally, the Druids would be called to action against the forces threatening their lands. The Curious class, and the one who forms the bedrock of the theory we'll discuss momentarily, is the Sorceress. World-wandering barbarians and druids in defense of their homeland makes sense. But why a sorceress of Zan Esu? Well, Esu is yet another ancient who held a close connection to the World Stone and formed her mage clan with a focus on the elements, teaching her acolytes that they could channel great power through intense meditation, summoning immense strength from within themselves. Now, we can explain varying tribes of barbarian or druid, and while we've already played 3 other mage characters, 4 if you include the necromancer, who wouldn't, but why specifically the Zan Esu? And I promise you this is going to tie together the confirmed classes as well as our theory on who's going to show up. As mentioned earlier, there is an immediate connection to the 3 classes already revealed, with the 3 of the first Nephilim on Sanctuary: Bull Kathos, the Barbarian, Vasily the Druid, and Esu the Sorceress. Interestingly, the Amazon and Necromancer are also connected to the Nephilim in Philios, the Amazon matriarch Askara, and the first Nephilim born on Sanctuary, Lanarian, aka Rathma, patron saint of the priests of Rathma, and son of Lilith and Inarius, who is heavily implied to be the summoner first seen in Lilith's reveal. Basically, Lilith's first children are the archetypes for the classes we will see. Now, it also happens that these particular ancients are the most commonly mentioned Nephilim in Diablo lore. Not only that, but these are not isolated figures. With the exception of Philios, the other 4 ancients had close relationships with one another. Bull Kathos, Vasily, Esu, and even Rathma shared acquaintances and were directly interconnected in some form. More than this, and just like their parents, they all had something to do with the World Stone, and by proxy, the ones who stole it and created Sanctuary. As you know, we believe the World Stone is the key to Diablo 4, as we covered in a previous video, so it makes sense that the future generations are carrying on their forebears' work. Furthermore, the return of Lilith and her goals to revive the Nephilim and end the eternal conflict paints a theme very much akin to the events of the Sin War, which culminated in an epic battle between the High Heavens and the Burning Hells, and caught in between the Edrium and Ancients. In this battle, several figures were seen alongside Rathma, including Bull Kathos and an unnamed female warrior who could very well be Askara, the namesake matron of the Askari Amazons. And given that the classes of Diablo revolve around their theme and locations in-game, suffice it to say, there is undoubtedly a strong likelihood that everything may be related back to the Ancients. Now, it's not just the clues that we've been given from released screenshots and gameplay, but external media that seems to heavily focus on Lilith and the Nephilim. The Sin War trilogy of novels was re-released late 2019 and early 2020 in a Blizzard Legends collection, seemingly coinciding with the reveal of Diablo 4 at BlizzCon 2019 in November, and giving the audience and lore junkies alike a chance to refresh before the game comes out, as we see the exploits of Lilith, Inarius, and her multiple banishments, which are all seen in said novels linked below. And most recently, it was revealed that a Diablo anime was in pre-production for Netflix, Netflix. What the series will be about isn't confirmed, but it is widely speculated that it could be based on the cancelled Titan comic series, which just so happens to be centered around Lilith and the Nephilim before the Purge and the Sin War. Whether this pans out or not is yet to be seen, but if it does, it's kind of coincidental that we be given even more insight into the lives of the Ancients. But there are probably the heaviest and most damning clues in Diablo 4's direct development and the controversial powers imbued in weapons. Recently released screen grabs from the June quarterly update revealed some key details about new aspects for weapons which had been gone over in February's update. And basically, all weapons are going to be imbued with either ancestral, demonic, and angelic powers. So human or the ancestors are ancients, demons, or angels. This focus, controversially, takes away from your typical RPG statistics like strength, intelligence, and dexterity and replaces it with these new stats. It serves to make a pretty damning statement that the developers really have this hard focus on the relationship between the classes and the ancients. Your weapons are either demonically powered, the power of angels, or both, as the ancients, or the first of the Nephilim, represent the balance. And we'll see if this theory is further bolstered in the coming months. But what do you think? Is there a correlation here? Could it be possible that in the focus of trying to bring the scope of grandeur for the heroes of Diablo 4 back down from the spectacle that we saw of the Nephilim in Diablo 3, that their legacies will be the ones who permanently free Sanctuary from the influences that led to its creation? As Kalan once mused, the Edirim, or ancients, would rise again, and the sacrifice of Odyssean to guide them, well, next time as their own masters. Let us